Baylor taking on Iowa State. Iowa State here, 2.5-point home favorites in this game, 44.5 being the total between these two teams. You look at last week, of course, with the Iowa State Cyclones. Give them credit against Ohio, 43-10. They won that game going away against the Ohio Bobcats. Defense looked terrific. Defense has been very good for Matt Campbell's team this year. There's no question about that. And he played very well. And they played very well again last week against Ohio in that game, really shutting them down pretty nicely. We'll see if they can keep that defense going here, because it is going to be a whole lot tougher in this game, going up against Blake Shapen and going up against a pretty solid Baylor offense that bounced back after a tough loss against BYU on the road. That overtime game, very entertaining game. They bounced back strong. They end up getting the cover. They were 30-point favorites at home to Texas State last week, 42-7 victory for Baylor in that game. Money's coming in here on Iowa State here, 2.5-point home favorites they are now. They played SEMO. They played Hawaii, or Iowa, I should say, who has no offense. And they played Ohio, who I think is probably a bottom half of the MAC team this year. I think they're a bottom half of the MAC conference team. So they've played SEMO, Southeast Missouri State, Iowa, and Ohio in their first 3 games. You look at Baylor, Texas State was a weaker opponent. They played Albany in their opener, but they played a really good BYU team on the road, tested pretty tough in that game. I have Baylor as the better football team. So I'm telling you what, right now, if this line keeps on trickling, and certainly if it hits 3, I'm looking at the Bears in this game. I'm not ready to say Iowa State's better than Baylor at this point. I still don't think offensively they are. I'll take Blake Shapen over Hunter Deckers, in my opinion. Defense has been good, but Baylor can match them. I think Baylor's team in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, it can go toe-to-toe. It's as good as any other team in the Big 12. I think they're very good in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. I think that can show up here. So I'm definitely leaning Baylor. And if this hits 3, I will be on Baylor. Make no mistake about it. What do you think here, CMAC? Big 12, Baylor, Iowa State.
Yeah, I remember this game a little bit last year. It was a 2-point game, and that's really crazy. That's kind of what this line came out. Baylor beat them by 2. A little bit more high scoring, 31-29. But I go in the trenches with both these teams, and it's their strength is their defense. So I know this total's low at 45, but I'd look to the under here on the total in this one. Yeah, maybe with Baylor, this is another tough game for them here. They went and lost to BYU, easy win last week with Texas State. And, there's been a lot. Iowa State, not that good. They have played cupcakes, but, they beat Iowa. And I think this game could be very close in the end. So maybe the points will be of value. I'm going to dig in this one a little bit more because I'd like to take Baylor too, but I'd want over a field goal. But I like the under here a little bit better with these two defenses.